The short story for today is A Question of Dowry by Shuye Kuling Lee.
About me. My name is Suyue Kiling Lee. I was born on 1940 in Kuala Lumpur. I moved and lived in Britain since 1968. I got my first degree of education in English at University of Malaya in 1963. Meanwhile, I'm also teaching English language, literature, phonetics, and linguistics at various schools in Selangor. I am the editor of monthly British linguistic newsletter and ex-official committee member of the Linguistic Association of Great Britain. I produce a lot of short stories which involving multicultural elements. One of the best is A Question of Dowry.
Why A Question of Dowry? Why?
Because it is a hot issue being discussed during that era, which is in 1965. Secondly, the author wanted to explore more about the Indian culture regarding the dowry system. And lastly, the author wanted to study how does this issue affect the Indian community in Malaysia. In this story, Tiruchilvam's family demanded for $20,000 as a dowry from the bride's family. However, they could not afford to pay the dowry and the necklace as they had only a piece of this valued land which cost them less than the amount they wanted it to be sold.
Nange, I'm so glad that our daughter is getting married to a handsome doctor soon. I think she is the luckiest girl ever, and I bet Mrs. Mutu will have a fit from envy. Our daughter is way better than hers.
But Ma, we cannot afford to pay $20,000 of dowry and the necklace.
But why?
Well, your piece of land was this value to be sold, and it's the only way to pay the dowry.
Are you insulting my poor father? He gave us certain land? Impossible! Oh, if he had known what sort of son-in-law he was getting, he would have made a wiser decision. But I shall have a better son-in-law who will not depend on his wife's dowry. He's a doctor and he has his own income.
Okay, I will invite Tirushalvam and discuss with him about this matter. Okay, I will invite Tirushalvam and discuss with him about that matter.
The mother left to the kitchen and they began the discussion.
Tiru, I would like to tell you the truth. We actually cannot afford the dowry which worth $20,000. Could you please consider about it again? Well, I guess we should just call off this wedding. I'm leaving.
Honey, I'm so sorry for what had happened.
But I started to like him already.
Well, there is more than one doctor in our community. And it's up to you, Ramachandran, to do your duty as father.
So, the multicultural element that we would like to highlight in this short story is the belief.
According to McCunis and Plummer, 2007, belief is a specific statement that people hope to be true.
The three main beliefs issues to be highlighted are arranged marriage, dowry, and education.
Firstly, arranged marriage.
In those days, Indian generations are traditionally engaged through arranged marriage by their elders. It is also necessary for religious sacrament as well. In their belief, female virgin could not attain spiritual enlightenment in this world.
In this short story, Mrs. Ramachandran herself was married through an arranged marriage by her father. The evidence is...
Are you insulting my poor father? He gave me a piece of southern land? Impossible! Oh, if he had known what sort of son-in-law he was getting, he would have made a wiser decision.
Meanwhile, Sivaswati also is going to be engaged to a doctor. The evidence is...
Sivaswati, you're a very lucky girl. You will have a doctor for husband, and Mrs. Mutu will have a fit from envy. Due to the incapability of the bride's family to fulfill the dowry as promised, the wedding had been called off. The evidence is...
Tirushalvam, having less faith in Miss Ramachandran's father, believed the news about the devalued land. Mr. Ramachandran had to let his wife and daughter know about the changed situation.
In the end, Mrs. Ramachandran believes that her daughter deserves another doctor in their community. She is being sarcastic towards her husband. The evidence is...
There is more than one doctor in our community. And it's up to you, Ramachandran, to do your duty as a father.
Number 2. Dowry. In India, the dowry or dahej is the payment in cash by the bride's family. It is originated in upper caste families as wedding gift to help with marriage expenses and a form of insurance in case her in-laws mistreated her. In the story, Tirushavam's family demanded $20,000 as the dowry from the bride's family. The evidence is
$20,000 is not to be scoffed at. That is more than I can say what Tangedrai gave his daughter when our son marries her.
Tirushavam believed that he should get a wife who can give him enough dowry. The evidence is...
Well, a man had to have a wife, so why not have one with a reasonable dowry? In this short story, Mrs. Ramachandran has a different belief about dowry. The evidence is...
I shall have a better son-in-law who will not depend on his wife's dowry. He's a doctor and he has his own income. Thirdly is education. Those days, they believed that men should achieve a good performance in education. According to Anjani Trivedi 2013, young women with unprecedented levels of education are seeking and making matches with educated men from higher socio-economic groups. In this short story, the son in the society should have a good education performance. The evidence is... You see, he's got to realize that his son must have a good education. So, why focusing on this issue?
Because there are women who are disagree about this belief and feel that it is a kind of oppression to them. This system is not widely practiced in Malaysia, but it is still a part of marriage tradition.
As a result,
there are two types of community. First, societies who practice this dowry system and take it as a positive value. Second, societies who think it as a negative value and does not practice it anymore. As a conclusion, it depends on the society and community